Hello everyone, and Shlam Chon Yiskeh, may your peace abound. The purpose of this video is to share with you some resources for the study of the Aramaic Peshitta, and specifically the English language translations of the Peshitta that I use. The Peshitta is an ancient version of the New Testament written in Aramaic. This is an important source for New Testament studies, as many of the conversations in the Gospels and Acts especially took place in the Aramaic language. For example, when Jesus cried out on the cross, Elohi, Elohi, lamna sabachthani, that was Aramaic. Thus, the Peshitta can be used to complement and to shed light on the Greek New Testament. So, let's take a look at a sample verse in the Aramaic of the Peshitta, and then look at the various English translations. Let's use John 1:1 as the sample verse, which reads in the Aramaic. Barashit aitohi hua melata, uhua melata aitohi hua lut Eloha, u Eloha aitohi hua melata. So the first English language translation is that of John W. Etheridge, and this is one of the very old and well-established English language translations. Some of these are old and well-established, and some of these are newer and more novel. John W. Etheridge translates this: in the beginning was the Word, and in brackets he has melata, which is the Aramaic word for word. And the Word himself was Aloha, and Aloha was the Word, and so you see he's transliterating Eloha, which is the Aramaic word for God, rather than translating it God. Secondly, James Murdock, another very old established translation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Exactly the same as the King James. George Lamsa translates, the Word was in the beginning, and that very Word was with God, and God was that Word. Lamsa is another well-established translation, a bit more out there in terms of theology, but again, another one that is pretty well known. Fourthly, we have Andrew Gabriel Roth. In the beginning was the Milta, and the Milta was with Elohim, and Elohim was that Milta. So what Roth is doing here is he's transliterating the word from the Aramaic, Milta, he's transliterating, and he is supplying Elohim, which is the Hebrew word for God. Okay, fifth, we have Vic Alexander. In the beginning of creation there was the manifestation, and that manifestation was with God, and God was the embodiment of that manifestation. So you see here Alexander is translating Milta as manifestation, which is indeed one of the meanings for Milta, manifestation or revelation. That can be demonstrated from the biblical Aramaic of Daniel. Actually, that is one of the translations, which I'll probably come back to at a later time. That's an interesting subject in its own right. And sixth, David Bauscher. In the origin, the Word has been existing, or had been existing. And that Word had been existing with God, and that Word was himself God. Now, I'll put a link to all of these resources in the description section of this video, and come back and do some more detailed analysis and commentary on the subject in a subsequent video. But I just wanted to introduce those 6 English language translations, and I'll put a link to some of the original language resources that I have as well for those of you who know Aramaic or want to take a look at it. And just suffice to say that if you don't know Aramaic, or you don't have ability with languages or desire to learn Aramaic, one of the substitute ways of kind of getting a feel for what it says is to read these English language translations, because each of them give a different sense of what the Aramaic is saying. So that's kind of a nice way to substitute for actually knowing the original language if you don't have the ability or inclination to learn the original language. So thank you, and Mehodeh Ana.